Hello, and welcome to Point of View, where we give students a place to listen, learn, and lean in. We're your hosts, Zara,
Caitlin.
Thomas.
and today we'll be talking about parent manipulation and exploitation with family vloggers.
Family vlogging, the name kind of really explains itself. So it's like when parents are filming their family's everyday life and milestones for their children. It was really popular. It gained the most popularity in 2010, like in the 2010s era of YouTube. Um, and that was just really the prime of that platform as a whole. And then with family vlogging becoming so successful, many families could use these vlogs as their main sources of income. And in recent years, there has been ethical concerns with family vlogging as we see that many of our favorite YouTube families are not as they seem. Um, Questions and discussions have arose about whether or not this type of content is exploitative, as many of the children do not have a choice in their participation. We're going to discuss a couple examples of these happening, and then we're probably going to go into some ways that exploitation of children online can be prevented.
Yeah, so I actually grew up watching family vloggers. It was honestly a lot of what I've watched. Obviously, I watched like the usual Disney and like Nickelodeon, and I'd watch all the princess movies. But when I started getting like a little bit older, let's say like around 9, 10, 11, I think that was the peak for me as watching family vloggers. A lot of the times I would watch Eight Passengers, I'd watch the Family Fun Pack, Smelly Belly TV, EBT Family. Like I'd watch all of those, and I don't know why it was so amusing to me. I think it was more of just like I thought their lives were interesting.
Yeah, it was because a lot of these families were kind of wealthy, so it was
Yes.
all getting them, watching them open Christmas presents, and it's just like a huge pile of presents under the tree, or when they would do toy reviews, and it's like you could add stuff for your Christmas list. Kind of like living through those children because their life seems so glamorous, on the internet.
Do you guys think that most of the views to these videos are like young children kind of just envious to how like good these lives the families are having?
I think I think a good amount of it probably is. I don't know if that's all the views.
Well, yeah, of course it's not going to be all of it. There's still
Yeah,
going to be a good chunk of it from somewhere else, but
yeah.
I think that it was mostly young children, not children, but maybe like around the ages of 10 and 12, I think is the most popular because yeah, like me, I know a lot of people who also grew up with it. Like I can sit down
Mhm.
with my friend group and have a conversation about family bloggers because we all grew up with it. But also I think at the same time it's also some like parents too watching that because sometimes they kind of imagine their life like that instead of like their lives or whatever.
Mhm.
maybe they're like trying to come up with like more ways to have like fun
Fun
with
with
their
their
children.
kids,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but obviously it's not always a positive thing. Um, when it comes to the treatment of the children that are bringing in this income for their families. So
Yeah,
yeah,
They probably get like really exhausted doing like all these high energy activities every single day.
right.
And unfortunately, that does take a toll on the children.
I think that especially some channels, I know some channels post like maybe once a week, every 2 weeks, but there's some that vlog every single day. And
Yeah.
I know that it would be exhausting having a camera shoved in your face all day, like you're going to school. Like I know some family vloggers are very open, which some people think that's very good, but also we don't need to be like seeing your toddler have a tantrum and you yelling at them. Like that's something that you should be intimate within the family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine going to school and people saying they
Yeah.
watched my video of me getting punished the night before.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
that's
there
not
really
fun.
isn't a sense of privacy when it comes to people like those.
Which is exactly another reason why people think it's like so controversial. Okay, so do you guys know who the eight passengers are?
Yeah, I used to watch them all the
Okay.
time.
I'm not, although I know about all these channels, I haven't actually delved too deep into like watching their content.
Okay, so a brief little summary for the eight passengers are it's a group or a family of obviously eight people. It's two parents and six children. And it's a Mormon household and they live in Utah. So a lot of the mom's name is Ruby Frank and a lot of her parenting was shown on their YouTube channel. And a lot of people at first used to love them, well, loved watching the kids grow up. Like the teenagers get into high school, and then first the oldest daughter start to graduate, and everyone thought it was very like wholesome until she started posting more, let's say, intimate situations in their household.
Mm.
Like, for example, there was one situation where Chad Frankie, the oldest son, tricked his little brother into thinking that they were going to Disney. So then the mom, Ruby Frank, continues to show the YouTube community his punishment, which was losing his bed for 8 months. And he had to like sleep on a sleeping bag or a bean bag for 8 months. So that was very controversial. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah, that's horrible. Like, I mean, everybody does love a good bean bag, but it's not something you're supposed to sleep in, right?
Definitely
Yeah,
not.
and then crime does not match the punishment. Like
Mm-mm.
it was like should he have pranked his brother? Obviously not, but like losing your bed for 8 months, like that has to like create some type of like back issues. Like
Yeah.
I don't think you can sleep on a beanbag for that long.
Yeah, I think the punishment deserved should have been like a slap on the wrist, and maybe the cookie jar gets sealed. But like,
Yeah, like cruel and unusual
And I think
punishment.
at the
Like that's
time
weird.
he was around like 15,
Mm-hmm.
Jesus.
16.
Something like that.
So I think that, I don't know, I think the punishment was a little bit too much. I think that every sibling gets pranked eventually by their older siblings. So I think it's normal. I think that it was a little bit too much. So that started a little bit of a conversation about like her abuse. And then there was another situation, which, Caitlin, do you want to explain what happened?
Are you talking about the other
Yeah,
children?
the
Oh,
daughters.
the daughter. Okay. So her youngest daughter, I think she was about 3 or 4 at the time. She was in preschool. Um, so she was sent to school. Um, and Ruby gets a call from her daughter's teacher saying that her daughter had forgotten her lunch and asking her if she could drop off like lunch for her so she could eat. Um, and Ruby proceeded to say on camera that it was her daughter's responsibility every day to pack her lunch and um
Wait, you said this was on camera? They
yeah,
She could,
she was vlogging just yeah.
yeah. So her quote said, quote, E is responsible for making her own lunches in the morning. So the natural outcome is just she's going to be hungry and hopefully no one gives her food and no one steps in and gives her lunch.
no one gives her food, or hopefully no one gives her food,
Yeah.
is
That's a
like,
crazy thing to say about your
I,
yeah,
daughter. Like
that is mental.
not even like the lunch, like the cafeteria. And I remember she told the teacher, she was like, make sure she doesn't get any food from the cafeteria. Like, don't feel bad for her. So that's another thing that made them very controversial.
You know how you were talking about how you thought it was a bit of like an unusual punishment that the son lost his bed?
Hmm.
Well, clearly you weren't the only one because didn't the family get arrested?
Yeah,
yeah, they were convicted. Well, just Ruby and then her
business partner.
yeah, Jody Hildebrand.
Okay, so yeah. So before we get to that, there was one more situation that actually led to the arrest, which was recently, I think around 6 months ago, it like shed light on the situation. And Ruby Frank's 12-year-old son escaped out of Jodie Hildebrandt's, her business partner's house, and went to their neighbors. Once he was there, he begged neighbors to call 911, and he was emaciated and malnourished with open wounds and duct tape around the extremities. Quote, as well as E. Russell, 10 years old, who was found starving in a closet. So it went from like vlogging to like actual abuse and like extreme punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think like this type of situation really goes to show like you don't really know what is going on behind the scenes. Like all of the kids seemed like they were pretty happy in the way they were living, but um the two oldest have spoken out about not really they don't get into the specifics of what happened to them, but they said it was like a long time coming and it should have happened way sooner. And so all those years when we're watching them and um, we're envying their lives, they're actually going through some traumatic situations.
You know what's like actually horrible about all this though? Is that these like poor children probably didn't have any chance for escapism or any sort of way to like just put it off for a little bit because of how often it was going through.
Yeah,
Hmm.
so actually a police report came out telling everything, and then also the police, like, the personal cams that they wear,
Hmm.
Mhm.
they released the footage and they found the little girl, E. Russell, she's 10 years old, in a closet. And they had to explain to her, they sat down with her for 4 hours and they had to explain to her that it wasn't her fault that her mom was doing all this. Because her mom had convinced them that it was God's, like they were sinful and that they had to pay respect to God and the punishments were going to get rid of their sins. So imagine being brainwashed for 10 years thinking that every little bad thing you do, you have a extreme punishment that you can't eat, that you have to get tied up just because you have to get rid of your sins. Like that's awful.
Yeah. And then beyond that, like they didn't have access to like the internet. They were homeschooled, so it really they were actually like living that 24/7.
Yeah.
Were they at homeschool after the earliest went to kindergarten?
Yes, it was like it was some point. I think it was once Ruby and Jody Hildebrandt. It was after the divorce for sure.
Hmm.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah, because Jody Hildebrand's like brand is about, I think she's like a therapist. So she was like trying to explain to Ruby how like the best thing for her is like divorce and like how her kids should do this, this, this. So it was like a life coach almost.
and then so this type of exploitation is not limited to YouTube. In recent years, like people have started posting their families on like TikTok and Instagram instead because YouTube is kind of dying out now. So one example is Jacqueline and her daughter. Um, they have over 17 million followers on TikTok, and basically the issues that have arose with their situation, people question whether Jacqueline's intentions, like of posting her daughter, are pure. Um, Basically, a lot of the content that she posts they have like a lot of saves on them, whether that's from just being bookmarked or downloaded by people, and like those type of videos with her daughter in them have significantly more saves than any of the other content that they make. So people are worried that um, they're getting into the hands of some
Disgusting
yeah,
people.
some
Yeah.
disgusting people. And so people have alleged that some pictures or photos of her daughter are ending up on some illegal websites and have, you know, voiced these concerns to Jacqueline. And she has denied that her daughter is present on any websites, and she said that she's going to continue to make content, and if there's ever any real proof, she's gonna stop and take it down, but it doesn't ever seem like it because there's like fan pages of her daughter. There's fan pages of her daughter. Um, there's like people will make comments under her post about her daughter, and she won't really do anything to like stop it. She said she's going to start filtering comments, but they're still there.
Yeah.
Um, S- And people think it's probably because of the amount of money they make. They have like sponsorships that they post on TikTok. So people think she's not looking out for her daughter's best interest just so she can like make a quick buck.
Yeah.
Um
So actually, I'm gonna add on to that. Unlike other maybe family or mommy channels, this Jacqueline and her daughter, it just focuses on her 4-year-old daughter.
mhm.
Literally, it's every single video is just of the daughter. And it'll be like random videos too. It'll be like, here's my daughter's outfit of the day. And here's my daughter playing in the sand. Today we're gonna take W to school. Like every single video is of that little girl. And it's kind of just like everything's about her, which I think is horrible.
Yeah. And then some people think that her mom is posting purposely suggestive things that could be interpreted in ways that are not safe for children, um like of no, I'm not gonna use examples. I'm not gonna-
Okay, it's just inappropriate and it could get in the hands of like wrong like people and just predators in general, which is horrible and
And yeah, so as her mother, I think we all believe she should be doing more to protect her daughter, especially I feel like
at such a young age.
yeah,
She's
if I was a
smart.
mother and people were telling me that my daughter's videos may be taken on a
Weird
website, I would
websites.
like immediately remove my child from all
Yeah, and
platforms.
also like you don't know who's running those fan accounts of that little
Yeah.
girl, which is awful too. It's not just like, yeah, sure, it could be some 13-year-old girl who's obsessed with the little girl, but also it could be someone way older and someone who shouldn't be in charge of those videos.
Yeah.
What's horrible is that like the children who do like just innocently watch these videos probably would like to be in her position too,
Hmm.
not knowing like all the consequences of actually being that famous on, you said it was TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And one good thing about this conversation's being had, a lot of people are deciding that they're not going to post their children online just because of these safety concerns. And I'm glad that like this is a conversation being had so we can like protect children, especially like on these websites in which
Mhm.
stuff can be taken.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I know it's typically based on parental supervision or parental guidance, like the COPPA laws, but there's a reason those COPPA laws, which state that you have to be 13 or older to sign onto websites, exist, is to protect children from going onto them.
Yeah, and it's really unfortunate because TikTok is like 13 plus, but like if we use like Jacqueline as an example, she's running it for her daughter, so she's technically allowed to be on the app because she's the one content creating, but
Yeah.
everything is about her daughter, and her daughter doesn't really get a say in that.
Another example that I also want to bring up is Ryan's toy review, which
Hmm.
I was probably, I'm 3 years older than him. So I think that probably when I was around 6 or 7, I was watching him because he started very young. So, do you want to explain who Ryan is?
Um, he's basically this child on YouTube who like all he does is review a lot of different types of toys and then like publishes the videos online, right? But the insane thing is that they make a lot of views. Like the most recent one I'm looking right now, okay, well, that was a day ago, but this one video from 3 days ago has around 300,000 views, which for just being like a regular playing video, I feel like is a little bit on the extreme side.
Mhm.
And I'm pretty sure this channel's run by his mom as well. I don't think there's anything necessarily malicious about this YouTube channel, but it's still just insane how popular these videos get, you know?
I
Yeah.
think it's also a little interesting because he's 3 years younger than you, so he's like 13,
Mhm.
and he's still posting toy reviews.
Which that's another thing that we've never like heard him speak out and tell anyone that he actually enjoys it.
Hmm.
And mind you, these videos are hours long. Some of them are 30 minutes, some of them can be up to an hour. Like I'm looking right now and the most views he's ever gotten was 1.3 billion views. And that was 8 years ago. So what, he was like 7, 6? Like
Yeah.
that's crazy. Ooh.
I can't believe I don't believe he still is having fun with these toys. Like maybe in the beginning, but it seems like well, I know they his net worth was what 30
$30 million.
yeah, $30 million. So I guess it makes sense that they want to keep producing the type of content that is making them the most money.
Yeah. These are daily uploads too, so
Mhm.
it's to add on to your point about how they're hours long or whatnot, these are daily uploads. So
Yeah.
That has to be exhausting.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not wrong, his mom went to jail a couple years back because she was found shoplifting in like a J.C. Penney's or a Macy's and for $93 worth of clothes. So let's take a minute to think about that. How are you?
making billions of views on YouTube and then
Yeah,
you have to shoplift $93.
there's just a lot. There's a lot that goes behind like all this YouTube families and all these kids, and it just so makes me upset. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I do agree. Children probably do deserve
Yeah.
privacy on the internet.
I mean, I could understand because I know there's some family vloggers that are like, okay, if my child doesn't want to be in the video, that's fine. And if they're old enough, like if the kid's old enough to say no, I don't want to be in the video, that's fine.
Hmm.
But also parents should also have like kind of sense of mind to understand that like their kid is too young to be maybe doing that or being
Yeah.
shown every single day on a YouTube video, a TikTok or Instagram, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Especially if they can't like consent to it or they don't fully understand what's going on.
at the least try to limit it so they're not too overwhelmed by like all the pressure
Hmm.
that this content has on them.
Yeah. I know some people are like calling for child labor laws to be extended to children that appear like on social media or like online, like through YouTube, um, because they're not protected at all. Like they can just be used as much as the parents want to use them. So something like that would probably be good to protect children, especially when they're like making the most money for the family, if the family is like relying on them for their, yeah.
Um, do you guys want to end this off by maybe discussing like how some of the platforms these parents are posting these videos to can like try to limit this kind of behavior?
Yeah. So I think that first of all, it starts from I think parents should also be self-aware. I
Well,
think that
yeah.
I think that that first of all should be the number one priority for all parents if you're going to put your kid on social media. Know what's going to come if hopefully not, but it could. And then also just like knowing your kid, like if your kid doesn't want to be on a camera 24/7, then don't do it. But also I think that platforms like YouTube and TikTok should also kind of not like have more focus on those family vloggers and family
Hmm.
channels to see that like okay, these kids are really young. Why are they like this close to a camera? What do you think?
Yeah, like you know how like YouTube can like demonetize videos,
Exactly. That's what
like
I was
stuff
trying to
like
say.
that. Like I feel like um because they have people, well, like systems or algorithms that will like filter out stuff that needs to be like
Filtered.
yeah, watched. Like and I think if that's done a little bit more heavily, it could probably uh be better. Or maybe these type of family accounts don't need to be making as much money as they are.
Hmm.
Don't need to exist.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I
Because I feel like the money aspect is the incentive of posting your child.
yeah.
Yeah. I think YouTube has like taken the starting step of trying to help the children. Because they made a separate platform called YouTube Kids, where like it's content for kids, right? So
Mhm.
they should be watching these videos there. So like any of the people on or you were mentioning who were watching those TikToks of it was right
Mhm.
won't be seeing that much content. But they don't seem to be enforcing this at all, nor are they like trying to like put these videos specifically or like redirect you specifically to these if you like click it on your YouTube recommended.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, I think that was good. I'm glad we had this conversation. I think that it's very important for people to educate themselves on parent exploitation and kind of the dangers of family vlogging.
I agree.
I agree.
This concludes this episode of The Dangers of Family Vlogging. Thank you so much for listening. For a transcript of this episode, head to the Point of View tab on our website, nhsmessenger.org, and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at NHS Point of View for updates and new episodes. I'm Thomas,
Zara,
And Caitlin.
and this has been Point of View.